What is subject-verb agreement in English grammar? People, especially those who have just recently started learning English, find the topic of subject-verb agreement quite puzzling. Consider this example. John eats an apple every day in the morning. John is a single person. The verb here is eat. But you notice that the verb eat appears with an S that usually signifies plural. Your common sense may tell you to write the sentence in the following manner. John eat an apple every day in the morning. In terms of subject-verb agreement, in English grammar this is wrong. On a related topic, if you use the above sentence, John eat an apple every day in the morning, this is an imperative sentence if someone is telling John to eat an apple every day in the morning. Though there should be a comma after John. Something like, John, eat an apple every day in the morning. Quick revision. An imperative sentence is a sentence that is used to give a command or an instruction to someone. Now, coming back to our subject-verb agreement topic, in English grammar, if the subject is singular, the verb is plural. And if the subject is plural, the verb is singular. Quick revision. A subject of a sentence is the person or the thing who or that is doing something or about whom or which the sentence is being written. In most of the tutorials on subject-verb agreement, at least I feel the explanation is wrong. On other places, you may find people telling you that if the subject is singular, the verb is singular, and if the subject is plural, the verb is plural. It's not like that. It's the opposite. It's like a seesaw. If one side is down, the other side is up. This is for all the non-is, non-are verbs. In fact, the topic should not be subject-verb agreement, but subject-verb disagreement. Anyway, for the time being, since everyone searches for subject-verb agreement, let's stick to this topic. So subject-verb agreement means if the subject is singular, the verb appears in its plural form, and if the subject is plural, the verb appears in its singular form. You say, this girl sings very well, not this girl sing very well. Also, these girls sing very well, and not these girls sings very well. So keep this in mind. The verb appears plural when the subject is singular, and the verb appears singular when the subject is plural. Some examples. She sings, they sing, he runs, they run, they smile, she smiles. The stones roll down, the stones rolls down, the fish swim, the fish swims. The dog barks, the dogs bark. Another way of remembering this is, if the subject doesn't have an S, the verb has it, and if the subject has an S, the verb doesn't have it. Of course, all plurals don't have an S. The subject-verb agreement rule also affects your is and are. A student is standing outside the school gate. What if there are more students? Then you write, some students are standing outside the school gate, or 15 students are standing outside the school gate. These are present continuous sentences. What about a simple sentence with subject-verb agreement? This is how you write. A student stands outside the school gate. Some students stand outside the school gate. When you are writing a complex sentence, make sure by the time you reach the verb of the subject, you remember that it is plural or singular. Consider this example. The students who have been demanding to meet the principal because of the recent dress code and also because of the protests they held in the morning, the school guard is not allowing them to enter, are standing outside the school gate. What if the sentence had a singular subject? Let us consider the same sentence with a singular subject, Peter. Peter, along with his few classmates who have been demanding to meet the principal because of the recent dress code and also because of the protest they held in the morning, the school guard is not allowing them to enter, is standing outside the school gate. This is because the sentence is about Peter and the fact that he is standing with other students is just the extra bit of information. Other expressions such as well as, along with, together with, and couple with will always have a plural verb if the subject is singular. Something like this. Asha, along with her sister Tanya, walks her dog almost every day in the morning on the east side of the street. Although two people are walking the dog, the verb is used such as we are talking about just a single individual or a single subject. On the other hand, the sentence could have been written in the following manner also. Asha and Tanya walk their dog almost every day in the evening on the east side of the street. The subject-verb agreement also adheres to the same approach with groups and sets. A bouquet of red roses always brings a smile on her face. Although you may think that the sentence has red roses, but the subject here is the bouquet and not the red roses. Red roses are just an attribute for the bouquet. Now let's come to a bit tricky part. Many people get confused about subject-verb agreement while using or, either or, and neither nor. In these sentences, the subject-verb agreement works just as a singular subject. Consider the following examples. His mother or his father picks him up from the school most days of the school. Neither his mother nor his father picks him up from the school on Wednesdays, so he goes home in the school bus. Except for Wednesdays, either his mother or his father picks him up from the school. What if the subjects are a mix of singular and plural when using neither nor etc.? Then the verb must agree to the subject nearest to the verb. Consider the following sentences. Neither the teachers nor the principal acknowledges the fact that one of the students had been assaulted inside the school. Neither the principal nor the teachers acknowledge the fact that one of the students had been assaulted inside the school. As you can see, whether you use singular or plural for acknowledge depends on the subject nearest to it. In the first sentence, principal, which is a singular noun, is closest to the verb acknowledge, and hence acknowledge becomes acknowledges. In the second sentence, teachers, plural noun, is closest to the verb acknowledge, and hence instead of acknowledges, we use acknowledge. So if both singular and plural nouns or subjects exist in the sentence when you are using or, either or neither nor, whether you use the singular or the plural form of the verb depends on the noun or subject nearest to the verb. A few more examples. Either a policeman or a couple of volunteers supervise the traffic at the crossing. Neither the plate nor the spoons go on the top shelf. A few maternal aunts or an elderly person from the family attends the ceremony. What about subjects and nouns with and between them? Conventionally, whenever and is used, we take it as more than one. Laurel and Cindy sit on the same bench when they come to the park. These are two people and hence subject-verb agreement is used accordingly. But what about these sentences? Breaking and entering goes against the law. Lots of whining and dining happens in this farmhouse. I'm sure that the first sentence, Laurel and Cindy, are quite obviously clear. These are two people. But consider the second sentence where breaking and entering is a singular activity. This is because breaking and entry go hand in hand. Similarly, whining and dining are often used as a single activity and hence this is a singular subject requiring an appropriate subject-verb agreement. In fact, when you are using distance, time frame, or even a sum of money, they are usually singular. The subject-verb agreement in these sentences is correct even when the subjects seem to be plural. 5 miles is not much of a distance for a habitual jogger. 10 years is enough time for someone to properly know his or her partner. $50 is a fair compensation for 2 hours of work. Are you wondering why plural is not being used in these sentences? In the first sentence, we are talking about the distance. In the second sentence, we are talking about the time. In the third sentence, we are talking about the compensation. 5 miles or 10 years or $50 are just attributes for distance, time, and compensation respectively. On the other hand, $50 are scattered on the floor. The sentence has are because here the phrase $50 is not an attribute for a compensation or a payment. We are talking about the notes themselves that are scattered on the floor. Consider these sentences. A lot of the cake has been eaten. A lot of the cakes have been eaten. Both the sentences have a lot of, which naturally means number or quantity. Again, the rule that the subject-verb agreement depends on the nearest subject to the verb. Just before has in the first sentence, we have cake, which is singular. Just before have in the second sentence, we have cakes, which is plural. Is subject-verb agreement for none of the singular or plural? For that, you need to understand what none means. None means no one, not any, no part, nothing. None can be singular or plural depending on the nearest subject, as is the case with many examples you have just seen in the video. Let's consider 2 examples. None of the students are standing in front of the gate right now. None of the crowd remains in front of the gate as everyone seems to have dispersed. In the first sentence, since students is plural, the verb will be plural. In this case, are. In the second sentence, since crowd is singular, we use the verb that is used for singular subjects, in this case, remains. Therefore, whenever it seems to be confusing, just consider the nearest subject. If the nearest subject is plural, you will use the verb form that is used for plural subjects, and if the subject is singular, you will use the verb form that is used for singular subjects. Are there cases when none can be both singular or plural? Yes, it depends on what you want to convey as a writer. Consider these 2 examples. None of the books is recommended for the semester. None of the books are recommended for the semester. You can use both the sentences. In English grammar, it is called notional subject-verb agreement, which means that whether you want to use a plural verb or a singular verb depends on your notion rather than by grammar logic. Subject-verb agreement for subjects like audience and staff. Staff can be both singular and plural. Consider the following examples. Most of the staff is sitting in the staff room. Most of the staff are sitting in the staff room. Both are correct. If you are unsure, you can use something like most of the staff members are sitting in the staff room. What about audience? Consider this example. Most of the audience is sitting in rapt attention. Most of the members of the audience are sitting in rapt attention. Audience is singular. If you want to use plural audience, it can be used something like this. Most of the audiences around the world prefer outdoors performance these days so that it becomes easier to maintain social distancing. Plural is used when you are wishing for something to happen or something that should have happened. If Roger were an honorable man, he would have given back the bag he found on the park bench to the original owner. If I were you, I wouldn't say something so insensitive. She requested that he raise his voice against the unfair practice. He wishes he were in a position to lend a helping hand to his neighbor in need. In the first, second, and the fourth sentence, you can see that were is used and not was. Have you noticed something interesting in the sentence? She requested that he raise his voice against the unfair practice. Why not raised his voice? This form of writing is called subjunctive mood in grammar. I will do a dedicated video on this topic, but for the time being, just keep in mind that when writing sentences in subjunctive mood, you simply use the base form of the verb. For example, pay, prepare, or walks. Not something like pays, or prepared, or walks, or walking, or paying, just the base form. The employees at the store wished that she pay for all the displays that she had damaged. It is important that she prepare for the exams in advance. She insisted that he walk the dog in the morning. Anyway, this is another topic. This wraps up my thoughts on subject-verb agreements. If you like what I have shared, do subscribe to my channel or press the bell icon to receive notifications.